On this 27th Sunday in Ordinary Time, we take a moment to reflect on the sacredness of marriage. Our first reading from Genesis and the Gospel of Mark point to God's intention for man and woman to complement each other and to become one. In the Gospel of Mark, Jesus says, "From the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, no human being must separate." The Church acknowledges that while marriage has been part of human history, Christ himself raises marriage to a level of sanctity. Some marriages are sacraments when man and wife are baptized Christians, but other marriages are still ordained by God and cannot be dismissed by human beings. I have for you an interesting image of the marriage of Adam and Eve. The artist Jean Duvet was one of the first major printmakers in France during the mid-16th century. Duvet was commissioned to produce a number of prints which would portray the culmination of our world as described in the book of Revelation. A few things about this print. You can immediately find a similarity between this marriage of Adam and Eve to earlier depictions of the marriage between Joseph and Mary. This very early Renaissance image of the marriage of the Virgin, for instance, by the famous Giotto, acts as a study for Duvet's print. However, we can see that Duvet almost lifts from Raphael's own version of the marriage of the Virgin, which was painted in the early 1500s. In both cases, Adam with Eve and Joseph with Mary, a high priest stands in the middle overseeing their consent. Clearly, according to the first book of the Bible, there were no people gathered around our first parents. However, because Duvet's image is an apocryphal depiction from the book of Revelation, we see numerous people in almost ornamental style surrounding Adam and Eve and their wedding, as if to show a wedding that surpasses all other weddings. The last book of the Bible, Revelation, points to an eternal marriage between heaven and earth, a marriage that can only be mirrored by the marriages which are celebrated in our world today.